Okay, this is going to be a video about combat and the last little bit of exploration that I forgot to mention in my last video. That is, once you've explored a site, a zone even, you're allowed to put your marker, your vault marker, that's 42 for vault 42, onto the box to show that you've explored it, and you're then allowed to look at that box whenever you want to. Other people can't look at it, they can only read what's on top. Or you can tell them what's in it if you feel like it, or you can trade the information, whatever. The second action, and the crunchiest one really, is you can take with the units is combat. So say in the previous situation we'd explored box X14 with these three units, and we found some feral ghouls in the box. Now, one of the units has already explored, so it can't take another action. So we say that the leader, who has got no combat ability to speak of, has explored, so he can't take another action. But these two units could take part in combat against the ghoul, so they could both say that they're actually in combat, and they haven't really got anything else to do, so they might want to do that, although obviously it's risky if they get into combat. Well, I'll say obviously. It's obviously risky to get into combat with ghouls. The way combat works is there are each unit will attack in turn and roll dice to see how much damage they do to the enemy, and the enemy allocates damage. And then whenever a unit's attacked, we start again, do it again, and then after 2 rounds of combat, it stops. In each round of combat, the players alternate attacking with a unit on each side until they've run out of units each. The person who goes first is the person with the most scout icons, which I don't seem to have got any of, and they get to attack with one unit first. If they've got several more scout icons than their opponent, if they've got 3 more icons than their opponent, they can attack with 2 units, and if they've got 5, they can attack with 3 units before the other guy gets to attack. If there's a tie for the number of scout icons, the defending person will attack first, and the hostiles are always defending. And if you control the area, you will be defending. If neither of you control it, then you have to roll off to see who's defending, just randomise it. Attacking is fairly straightforward. You choose one of your units to attack with, so in this case, he's already explored, so these are fighting. There's no scout icon, so the defender goes first, which is the ghoul, so the ghoul will attack first. He rolls 1 die per attack value he's got, so each gun, so 2 dice, and each roll of 4 or more, which is none, will cause damage to the opponents. In that case, there is no damage. Then the other side gets to go and attack with all its units. Attack with one of its units. However, since there's only 2 units, since all the ghoul sides have gone, it will be both units. So I'd pick one unit, I'll pick the patrol, it rolls 3 dice, and rolls 3 ones, no hits. And the pioneer will then, well, the ghoul will get another go, but there's no other ghouls. The pioneer will get and roll 5, so that does damage. The amount of damage you do is equal to, it's going to roll 1 dice because it's got 1 gun, and it does 1 damage because it's got 1 splodge. So I cross 1 box off the ghoul's hit points, which is there. All damage is healed at the end of every turn, so yeah, it's pretty easy to track. The next round of combat, we start again. There's only a maximum of 2 rounds, so if you don't have enough firepower, you might not be able to clear monsters, but that's bad luck. So ghoul fire first, because it fires its defender. It rolls a 1 and a 2. I'm pretty good at dice rolling. Then the patrol, well, one of these units goes next. The patrol say, which gets no hits, and then the pioneer would go next and gets 5, so that does a hit. However, that is the end of the second round of combat, so combat's over. The ghoul hasn't been defeated, it would heal, and these people go home to report their inadequacies at fighting monsters. If the ghoul, for example, had rolled better, if it rolled 2 hits with its first attack, that's not 2 hits, that's 2 hits there, look, 4 and 6, I'd have to take 2 damage on my units, and I cross off damage from the left to right. Each hit, all the damage from that hit has to go on the same unit, but because the ghoul only does 1, that's not an issue here, so 1 damage there, and 1 damage there will be good, because there's casualties later. If, though, I'd had the sniper section, I was fighting against the sniper section, and it rolls the hit, it's 1 dice, it gets a hit, it rolls a d6 for damage, and gets a 6, and all that 6 damage has to be allocated to one target. So one of these poor sods gets splattered. If it got several dice of attack instead of just one, and it rolled 2 hits, it could have rolled like a 1 and a 6. Then I'd choose how to allocate them in any order, and I could say give that one to the Pioneer, and then give the 6 to the Pioneer as well, which would completely obliterate the Pioneer. Damage from a single attack does not carry over. Sorry, I didn't actually mention that, which makes them relevant. So that 6 will kill somebody, but the extra 2 or 3 won't do anything. If I'd rolled like a 4 on my sniper, or not a 4, a 3, a 2 with my sniper's damage instead of a 6, then I have to allocate it to one of these guys. Let's get them fresh. I have to allocate it all to one of them. I can't split it. And if you see on both of them, after taking 2 damage, they suffer a casualty, which means that I get a little casualty token, which is a red bed marker. So if I'd suffered a casualty, I'd cross off 2 boxes here and get a casualty marker, there, which I have to put in the vault next turn. So it goes into either sick bay or the waiting rooms, and I have to put a meeple on that does nothing until it's actually healed. So probably want to heal it as quickly as possible. But yeah, statistically you want to heal it as quickly as possible. The injuries will still heal on the counter at the end of the turn. The meeple doesn't suffer any effect. It's just the vault has a degraded performance next turn as a whole. All damage will be healed at the end of combat.